Okay guys, pot 3 I think. I lost track. So much for doing this in one pot. If you're just stepping in on this video, there's a pot 1 and 2 that you may want to watch first if you haven't already. Alrighty, we were talking about the clearance on the intermediate clutch. I went ahead, so I torqued the pump bolts. I told you that was important to use a torque wrench on those. I prefer an inch-pound torque wrench over a foot-pound torque wrench. And there we are, all nice and neat with our one-piece shaft. It's supported at the end, so you don't need a bushing inside the converter or anything. No special oil mods to the converter, nothing like that. So that's all well and good. That kit is now available. Very easy, very effective if you're interested in that. So back to business here. If you look, I don't know if you can see this square window. You can see the frictions and steels for the intermediate, and you just get in there with a pick or something, screwdriver. I can feel that we have clearance. You can kind of just double check that because it's a little bit tricky to check. But okay, we're all good there. So you've got this is a 3/4 accumulator. 89 and up did not use this accumulator anymore, so not unusual to see this missing. This was an older unit, but I am not going to put that accumulator in, but I have modified the valve body so that we don't need that anymore. If you're not modifying your valve body in that way, and please don't ask me how to do that, you need a milling machine. You could probably do it with the separator plate too, but I block off passages with the milling machine. But anyways, if you have a valve body before 89, this needs to be here. Okay, I've actually got an 84 valve body, but again, I modified it so I don't have to use that. But if you had that there originally, you got to put it back. 2-3 accumulator, that's always going to go back in. Now, these had a plastic piston with replaceable seals, and various valve body and shift kits would give you different seals and things to put on it. You know, they all like to say that there was a problem with these sealing and this and that. I don't know if that's true. But in any case, this doesn't really concern me. Now, wouldn't really say it's a problem reusing it necessarily, but it's plastic, it's old. I worry about these things getting brittle sometimes. But what I do typically is I put a newer style piston in, like the 4R70W has. It's a molded one-piece piston, and it's a disposable piece. You know, so once the seals get hard in it, you have to throw it away. But anyways, I'm just gonna put our trans prep in here, and then just insert this piston in there. And there we go, goes in like that. So you have your accumulator spring, that's going to go there. This retainer, you see that little nub on there, that's going to go towards the spring. That just kind of holds the spring centered. And then you have a snap ring like this, and I'll need my other hand to install that, so give me 1 second, I'll install that. Alright, another infuriating thing. It's why people hate Fords. So our parking lever here, check this out. This pin does not fit. It's just a little bit too big. So it's from a different year model. For some reason, they changed the diameter of this pin. I don't even know, 20 thousandths or something. I'm going to find out now. But this is the wrong one for this case. So I must have changed this case or done something. It's infuriating. I don't know why they made that change. So give me, God only knows how long. Let me see if I can find one that fits this case. I hope I have it. Alright guys, hang on. That's why I lose patience with this stuff. Okay, here I am in a storage building. We have here, and yeah. Well, I gotta go through this. I got my calipers. I gotta see if I can find the right one here. I'm telling you. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this, but they made a stupid little change. So, let me rummage through here. You don't want to watch that. This could take a while. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to probably buy a reamer or something. Alright, hang on. Alright guys, right here. This is it. This is why we hate Fords. I'm going to show you this right now. Infuriating. See these pins? They're 10 thousandths different in diameter. Would somebody please explain to me why they decided to do this? I mean, it's just... It's a joke. You know, it's a joke. So, if there's any Chevy guys watching, yeah, you can laugh at this nonsense, and I'm right there with you. Although I'm not in a laughing mood, but... Alright, I still gotta find the appropriate parking lever here. So, let me get this matched up, and then I'll get back over to the shop. But I just wanted to point that out. This is why we hate Ford. Stupid little changes. 10 thousandths of an inch on a pin. Ridiculous. Alright, here we go. Alright, look at this. You gotta see this. Alright, what do we got there? 442. Let's go to the other pin. 451. Somebody explain to me why this change came about. The Ford engineer on this, I'd like to beat the shag out of him. I mean, come on. And I've run into this before. It's not a fluke. Just there is two different ones. Anybody know the reason for this? I'd love to hear. You know, put it in the comments. Are you the guy that invented this? I want to meet you. Alright. So... I think this was the smaller one. Yeah. Alright. So, let's get this out of our life. So, here we go. Real simple, right? Just put this thing in. Oh my god. Alright. Kind of hard with one hand, but... Well, let's show you this first. That's got a, you know, kind of a squared off end and then a loop end. So what you want to do, and I apologize for the bad filming here, I can't do it with two hands. So squared off end goes on to the parking lever. Looped end hooks onto the case here. That just slips in there like that. And then if you can, if you got the right one, put your pin through. And there you go, very simple. Once you have the right parts. Alright, and you got to make sure you put this on before you put your extension housing on, because if you don't, this won't, you know, you'll have to take the extension housing back off. Yep, I've made that mistake. Okay. So this deal, the parking linkage will go in like that. So now we got to put our shift lever and stuff in. So I'm going to take, and I had that nut. Alright. So your TV shaft, and then I put the nut there, and then just fish all this through like this. And then I'll need my other hand, but you get the idea. Then this guy here, there's a little piece of rag on there or something. Then this is just going to kind of fish through and go in. So let me get that in, and then I got to put this nut on. So let me do that with both my hands. Be right back. Alright, I got that nut tightened up. Now, this little pin here, it's going to be a little bit smaller at one end than the other, so just make sure you put it in the right end first. It should kind of want to slip in, and then you'll have to drive it the rest of the way. Now, I can't stress this enough. Don't overdrive this pin in because it makes it difficult to get out. Just tap it easy till it's just flush with the gasket surface. You want to leave plenty sticking up so it can be removed later. If you go and drive it home, you're going to create a problem for somebody later, and it may be you when you go to take this shift linkage out. I talk about this, I think, on the teardown video, where sometimes I have to put some weld on there to get it out. So, alright. Next step on this is going to be putting the valve body in. Now, this hole and this hole here are what locate it. Let me go grab the valve body. Alright, now I've talked about this in another video, but if you notice, not always, but most of the time, you're going to have two of the short bolts that have a shoulder like this on there, and then the rest of them will be fully threaded like that. Now, sometimes on the real early models, they're all fully threaded, and you don't have that, but the ones with the shoulders are meant to go in these positions. Now, ideally, you'd want to have some guide pins. I don't. I don't know. Been getting by without them all these years, but it would be nice if I did. Maybe one of these days I'll take a set of these bolts and just cut the head off, and I'll have a nice guide pin or something, but put that on my list. So, okay, just, make sure this surface doesn't have any burrs or anything like that. Sometimes these get hit and they'll get a burr or something on them, so just check it real carefully for that. Carefully file any burrs off if you need to. And another thing I do here, and I talk about this in another video, if you look right here, this small hole here, if this gasket slips and covers this hole, what happens is your pressure will skyrocket. You'll get out of control line pressure. So it's very important that the gasket stays in place, and that's why we use the pins. This will be hole 1 and hole 2. Now, another thing I do, I use the trans prep underneath this. You can kind of see some blue stuff oozing through the holes. I put just a little bit of trans prep underneath it so that the gasket kind of stays in place. It doesn't slide as easily. And also, I'm doing things kind of upside down here, so when I flip the valve body over, the gasket doesn't fall off. Now, the tricky thing is you got to do all this, worry about the gasket slipping, and you got to engage your TV and your shift linkage for your manual select. So obviously you're going to need both hands again. Let me get this bad boy on here, so give me 1 minute. Okay guys, got the bolts all torqued up. Other thing I did, I put this, see if I can get another angle here. I put the assist spring in. This is for the TV linkage, so if it ever gets disconnected or something, it won't, pressure doesn't go to zero. So you can see it's looped around here. Get this looped around here first, and then this tab here will be sticking straight down. Then you're just going to pull this tab up and hook it on the separator plate here. Okay, a little tricky getting it in, but it's not too terrible. You'll get it. Alright, unfortunately I'm going to have to go soon, and I don't know how to put video together. So let's get the filter on here real quick. Let's at least do that. You don't need to see me put a pan on it. I think you can figure that out. I'll try to do the governor with you, but if not, I got another video that shows the governor, so hang on, let me grab a filter. Alright, a little bit of a strange filter here, but it's got this gasket here. Make sure you put that on, and I just stuck it on with a little bit of the trans prep so it stays in place for me, because I got to flip it over, and that's gonna go there. So 3 bolts, pretty easy. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, I'll tighten those up. I will skip putting the pan on. I put a dyno pan on, so I'm not mangling up a nice pan, because after I run this on the dyno, I like to pull the pan and make sure there's not a bunch of crap or something in there. You know, whatever, metal shavings or anything weird and unusual. So I take the pan off after I run it anyway, so I just use, you know, what I call just a dyno pan. So I'll take it back off, replace the gasket, and then put the real pan on. So let me get the filter tightened up, and then we will do the governor, and that should do it. That should tell you what you need to know for the most part. Okay, be right back. Alright, apologize, I ran out of time, so I'm gonna have to go soon, but very quickly, I've got a video. It's called something or other, fixing erratic shifting problems in your AOD. That's going to show you how to properly install this governor sleeve, because you want it, because they tend to be sloppy on the shaft, so you want to tighten that up if at all possible. The governor is just, you know, just a mini valve body. There is a little filter in there that goes in here, so make sure you get the filter out and clean that. Sometimes the rebuild kit will give you a replacement. Some of these are metal, some of them are plastic, and it goes, I know people tend to think it goes this way, but it actually goes in this way. So it's going to go like this end in first, the round end goes in first. Okay, I'm not going to put it all the way in because I haven't cleaned it yet or any of that. Now, there's 3 different governors. This one here, see that counter bore in there? This valve's been lightened from the factory. It's a factory one. And this is going to be the highest RPM governor of the 3. And then the other 2 do not have this counter bore. So there's kind of like a low, medium, and high. Honestly, I don't remember how to tell the difference between the low and medium. Now there's also, I won't name names here, but there's a company that sells a high RPM governor, and what they've done is they've made, I think it's this First Land, it's really thin. They basically made this, you know, as light as they can make it. You know, they give you a new valve here and a new spring or something. But the land is real thin, and what I've seen this happen twice. Units come in that weren't shifting. The land is so thin that breaks, and the governor valve gets jammed up in there. So, personally, I don't recommend using that high rev kit for that reason. If you want high RPM, this is the guy here, and it is what it is. Live with it. At least it'll shift. So, I don't know. I've seen that happen twice. I know that's not a lot, but I haven't had many of those units come in with that high rev governor either. So, that's it, guys. That's pretty much all I got on this build. So, I'm going to leave it here. I think I've shown you enough. You kind of get the gist of this. So, a few things, you know, I just wanted you to see basically how it goes together. Show the upgrades that I do to it. Show that one-piece shaft kit, how that works. And that's it. Again, if you need your handheld through the whole thing, check out Ken Collins, Bad Shoe Productions. Splurge. Spend the $35 and get the video. A lot cheaper than somebody like me putting it together for you, if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, give it a go. So, okay. I'm going to go, and I appreciate you guys watching the videos and supporting the channel. And if you happen to know why they changed the diameter of this pin 0.010 of an inch, please let me know. I just seems like over-engineering nonsense, and it kind of reminds me of electrical codes. You know, it's just like these guys are just trying to keep their job, so they got to find something to do every year. And there's probably almost nothing left to do, but they keep finding things, so they don't want to be out of work. Anyways, that's it. Building transmissions is frustrating. And hopefully this thing works. I'll be dynoing this thing, and I will try to do a video on the dyno if I can. A lot of times I end up getting rushed and I don't end up doing it, but I'll get an AOD dyno video one of these days. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.